Good morning. It's Tuesday, August 24th, and I'm going to talk about Afghanistan this morning. Not because I really want to, but because I think there's a need to speak about it and get it off our chests. And yes, this has turned into a major debacle. And yes, the world is probably looking at us with pity, probably thinking, how the hell did the United States get involved in this mess? It's a well-known historical fact. Afghanistan has been known as the graveyard of empires. Went there 20 years ago, looking to rid the world of a terrorist organization, Al-Qaeda. Looking also to find Osama bin Laden, the architect of 9/11. And it only took us 10 years to find him. And we got him. But we continued to stay in Afghanistan. We stayed there through 4 presidencies. And there are many who believe that we should have left as soon as we got bin Laden. And I don't know if it would have mattered whether we left when we got bin Laden or if we left 5 years ago or if we were going to leave 15 years from now. As I said before, Afghanistan is known as the graveyard of empire. I don't believe that there's any way that you could change the history and the future of Afghanistan. What's happening now could have happened 5 years ago, or it could happen maybe in the future too. And we have made many, many mistakes in Afghanistan. Biden is now taking the heat for all of those mistakes. And rightly so, because the buck stops there. But I think it's good that everybody be reminded that this is a buildup of 4 presidents' actions. This is the result of our missteps over 20 years. And it's pitiful that one has to be reminded of that. And it's pitiful that many are willing to take solace in the fact that we can blame Joe Biden for everything. And we can blame Joe Biden for this incident, for getting caught off guard, and for not recognizing the facts that are associated with the history of the situation that he got himself involved in. He wasn't the one who made the deal to leave. He wasn't the one that drew down the troops for 15 months and gave the Taliban 15 months to plan this attack that took place. You don't think that these guys got ready in the 6 months of Biden's presidency. They were planning this attack from the day that President Trump signed their agreement with them. Nobody wants to admit that we did not watch them for 15 months. Signed a deal and expected the Taliban to live up to its arrangements without any checking up. The execution of the exit plan was very badly done. But there is much blame to go around, and he's going to take the heat. And I'm not going to excuse him, but I want everybody to recognize the fact that he was not alone in this debacle, that Bush deserves some of the credit, and Obama deserves some of the credit, and Trump deserves some of the credit. So he's taking the arrows for those 3 guys. And the Afghans deserve a lot of the credit too. They folded in the face of the enemy. They folded with all the military might that we had given them and all of our expertise and equipment that they had in their hands. And their president ran out of the country like a rabbit being chased by the fox. And let's not forget this, that while this has gone very badly, 62% of the American people were in favor of us getting out. And while Mitch McConnell will say that we have been disgraced in the world, that people are cheering in Syria, in Yemen, in Africa, and they have watched the defeat by the Taliban, the defeat of America. And it's a sad day for the United States. And Biden owns it. And yes, he does own it, but so do all the members of Congress who voted for this war. And all those members of Congress who came down on people like Congressman Lee of California, who was against going to war. And she voted against going to war, and she was chastised because she voted against going to this war. And Biden, when he was vice president, didn't want us in Afghanistan either. So let's take a look at this thing from the big picture and recognize the fact that there were many, many people to blame for this. And John Bolton, who was one of the #1 hawks in the world, wrote the book, The Room Where It Happened. And he said the deal with Afghanistan is entirely Trump's deal. And Biden didn't make a deal with Afghanistan. But it's convenient for the GOP to dump the whole thing on Biden's head. And so we have to recognize that. We have to recognize those facts. Recognize that in history, there's never been a military solution. The Afghanis have swallowed up the Babylonians, the British, the Russians, and now the Americans. And that's the way it's going to be in that country, because that country is not mentally equipped to accept democracy. There are too many varying tribes in that country that do not want to give up power to a centralized government. Well, I say good riddance to this adventure, and hopefully in the future people will recognize that the fact that going to war is not the right thing to do all the time. And I believe that most of the American people really believe we wasted 20 years and that we shouldn't have been there in the first place. So I'm going to leave you with that. See you in the morning. Bye.